All right, project 2 check-in. Let's go. Ah, yes, musical vision. Who's all these people? All right, you work with Georgia Tech. Thoughts are maybe some quick shout out. Cross discipline. It's not really cross discipline, cross college. Some type of statement here and telling them that you're not just doing this all by yourself. It helps leverage my expectations. It's good when you get to this page, right? Design a new concept with the more friendly user experience and ergonomics. Good. Socially comfortable. But what about the user experience? Also, do me a favor. This is so close to the edge. Give me 2 iterations, and you got to pick the one that looks better. First one is scale this guy down, right? Scale the fonts down. That way it fits within where that kind of implied line on the N is. That's option 1. Option 2, what about putting in quotations? Imagine there's vertical lines in the back of the D and on the far side of the N, and keep inside of those. So you're condensing horizontally. You gotta tell me how this thing works first. Let me see. Still, agree. Probably too small, right? And you'll gain 1.5 more of width. Some of this is possible for me to read. Keep in mind I'm looking at a 13-inch screen. I guess typical desktops are bigger, but you're on the line between being legible and illegible. 100%, and then I gotta back to 75. Technical and life. This is a bit weird, right? Because in terms of premium and value, we get this idea. Like, who is your competition? Are they actual brands? Which was the opportunity space? Premium and life or value and technical? Just want a little bit more information on that, especially if you can pull a logo from here, maybe a logo from there. You got the E, you got the Q, maybe something else. Help me make some relationships. User stats. All right, what are we talking about, right? You're implying visual impairedness, but just remind me, be over explicit instead of implicit. 80% of people who are blind are what? Who is at risk? I don't know. If this is, well, you gotta make a decision. If this is important enough, then make it visible. If it's not important, get rid of it. Yeah, can't read any of this. And it's not bolded, and there's no hierarchy in terms of information, so I'm assuming it's not important, or it's lower importance. All right, you are applying it to the forehead, or over the ear, or the neck. Okay. If you are exploring, like, don't tell me what you did, show me what you did, which could be more call-outs that are bigger and more legible. This looks like form development. If I could read these, maybe there's a reason behind them, but, can't read them. Is it simply form development, or are you achieving some overall user value through your design? And also tell me, like, what's wrong with the first one, right? Well, that's, so much prettier. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, and more to come after this. It's not that it's a bad intro. Related products, Google, maybe those are headphones. Maybe those are cattle balls. All right. More content, more feedback. You know how that works. Michael Bridges. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Look at these juicy renders. Small difference, and I think it would help the overall look. Keep residing the kitchen blender on the inside of like the bounding box of the Olympus, or make Olympus the same width of this sentence. Small detail, so it looks a little bit better. Look at you, pointing to post-it notes like a designer, my goodness. We've already talked about your sketching style. It works. I would scale this page up a little bit though. Maybe 10 to 20% more. Also sketch duration. Are you going to caps the first letter? And you know it's a lot of text. So right, maybe it's a tertiary element where you're not going to read anything, but I'm not going to go hunting for information through it, that is sure. Also, scanning, you're not really using any of your margin for any reason whatsoever. And if you're not going to use it once. Which to me is like you're not using it. Why not scale the entire thing up? All you're doing is making your text smaller and your images smaller. Volumetric studies, fundamental design. Say same thing. I'm going to give you 3 sentences max or 4 sentences when bolded. Like I can tell these are white models, and typically, you do white models for multiple reasons, but what did you learn from doing them? That's what I want to know more than anything else. Or are there design features that you need to achieve, right? Size. If these are important, ideally I want to see you exploring those terms or those concepts through your sketches, reinforcing them through the models, and then when you get your final one, it should hit the majority, if not all of those goals, right? Text feels a bit small. And I don't know, my eye goes to these little plus areas. I would kill off that vertical line here. So you got bounding box, and leaders coming into the bounding box. Maybe another way to do it is change the color here. Either make this bounding box far more gray, or make these green, something that would tie it into the overall color scheme. New direction. I wouldn't call it new. Reading. Your base wasn't okay. So if you started completely over all kind of new direction, I would more like you change trajectories or you revisited a concept, but I wouldn't say it's new. It doesn't exactly imply what I think you're going after. Using Olympus, not sure if you need it. If you do need it, keep the S lined up with this area. I like the sequence of use, although I would bring a little bit more attention to your arrows. Here it looks like it's part of the model because you got so much white on white. Maybe red. I'm trying to pick a color scheme that you already got existing. That way it's not so foreign. All right. Cool. Good rendering use. Miss Firestone. Pack it and stack it. Bradner's trees. Good intro. I need you to line this up. The B. That implied line. Club stores. Club stores like what? You're making me make a guess. If I had to guess what a club store is, Costco, Sam's. Are there any other ones that I don't know about? It is pretty important we're talking about club stores here because they're selling bulk. Yeah, bulk memberships, but I also assume they're selling bulk products. Right? So while it is retail, they are selling in the high quantity, so the packaging for these situations is going to be different. Help me understand why that's significant in the story. especially the no frills and bulk items, right? People are aware of Sam's, Costco, so use that as a kind of a launching point. Also, I think these black circles should be behind your little symbol, or maybe using opacity. Good page. I got it. They use these things because they're going for lots of size. You showed me problems. Oh, they damage easily. Okay, so how are you going to fix those problems? And how is your approach different than the ones that are up here? I'm hoping you explain that as we go through. Nesting, tapered edges, interlocking. Cool. I think your sizing is good, right? So, Jan, this is easy to read. Kaylee, good job. Good. Only downside behind the strengthening tabs is, right, more work, more materials, more cost. Good. Yeah, I can understand what you're thinking through when you're showing how these are made. Suggestion: take your zeros in all these situations and left align them to the left of the image, so everything is knocked over maybe 1/8 of an inch. There is a detail that I'm curious about, and I don't see it. What I'm curious about is this phenomenon, how they're falling in. It's like there is some type of internal structure, some extra platform in here. Maybe it's there, maybe it's there. For me, it's an important detail because without it, these boxes continue to, like, the higher they get stacked, the more weight, and they kind of crunch the things that are below. So even if you didn't do that, it'd be worth coming back and telling me that it's an essential element, because I think it is. Or if it's not, tell me why I'm wrong. Packaging graphics are designed like a billboard. They visually communicate within 5 seconds and 5 feet away. What do they communicate? Speaking of the nesting, I think that's why it goes back to there should be something in here that helps it from not continually falling down and ruining chips. Good palette considerations. Okay, I'm just looking for like what little piece of innovation sets you differently than the other ones, right? You said these are problems. What are the features that yours offers that makes it superior to previous? Something like that, right? Go back. Just curious. You ever want to change this scheme up? Right? It feels like you could use something in the same type of family. So interlocking diamonds, some type of Escher pattern that is the same but different. Because always doing these hexagons will kind of limit you in the long run. So see if you can find something that's the same but different. Talked about this in class. Also, this color scheme, right? Let's see what you're working with in terms of color scheme. Yeah, you're like this greenish. I'm interested in this page, but I'm trying to make sense of this. People use a lot of bags. They're convenient. They're free, right? Usage time, 12 minutes. From loading to getting home, right? if each bag equals one bag, are these how many bags it is a year? Or I don't want to count. I'll say this is 15 by 10. So this is 1,500. Okay, and then times 10 bag. So I like what you're trying to do. I just don't think it's effective yet. So continue to work on that. And I see a weird little overlap that needs to be addressed too. But most trash cans don't support this. Color's a little bit bad on here too, right? Because you got white on almost white. Is there any way you can bring a bit more saturation or contrast? Also, we get to this point because it's like the user didn't do it well enough, or it's not made for it. Trash falls to the bottom of the can. I agree with all those things, but there's still one more step that happens. Is you got to go get it, right? You had this convenience of you throw it in the bag, you tie the bag, you're done. Pretty simple. But then over here, you know that's the next step, and it's kind of gross, and that's the reason why we don't like it. So consider adding that. Using laser cutting, congratulations. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? This is the downside of the laser cutting equation. Almost every single department, even the most cost-effective small ID department that I know, has a laser cutter. So it's not really that special that you're showing it. Now, if you want to show using, you using with them at their facility using a certain type of equipment that is beyond what normal ID programs have, yes. But the way you set it up is this could be our laser cutter room. Hashtag, I know it's not, but if you don't tell me, I don't know. And what's up with this? It looks like extra waste. All right, you pull it over. Also, what type of trash bags is this made for? Are all trash bags the same? Walmart, Target, Homes, Lowe's, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, or are they slightly different? Curious. Also, I would bring more attention to this little tab. I didn't see it until I looked really hard here. So, how can we do that? Also, scale on this is kind of weird. Like, you never tell me the scale of the Packers can. I know it keeps trash, but trash has different forms. I know it's beside a chair, but this is the first time that I see it. So, what I really like is a page of all these by themselves and then a hero shot. Yes, it can work on this page, but if you back out some more, I'd be able to gauge your hand with the entire form. Or what's a current bag size. There's something missing in terms of how this really solves the problem, because at first I thought this guy was pretty big. But there's no way to know. So help me get a bit more context. You're trying it. I value your attempt, but I'm not fully getting the idea of the size of your solution quite yet. All right, Natalie. So we talked about this guy briefly after class. I think it's a great project. It shows some versatility. You're going to use every single second from that, like, was it 48-hour design challenge? So in terms of format, I know you're reworking that, but let's talk about, look at all these people. Sorry I got sidetracked. What a wild bunch that must have been. All right. Yes, who is Snook? I think it's good to introduce who they are, but I want the project brief here. And then you can talk about research on a larger scale. Right? I wouldn't split it up 50-50 yet. Just talk about the general area of who you're working for, and then maybe frame it into one question, or we need to solve these three things. Put that on the same page. Next page is, once you know that your targets, how are you approaching and hunting down the solution to those targets? And let's also get them off government help. Reduce dependency on government support. Sounds a bit more adult. Personas. This might be weird, right? Because we are talking about homeless. We don't want to feel... come on, Bush, think. We don't want to come across as being insensitive, but we want to accurately represent these people. So I do want an image. I want somebody that I can empathize with and go, okay, that's the person we're talking about. All right, are we talking about homeless? Or are we talking about government support? Because I'm interested in, like, she's single, she got a 12-year-old kid, gets them to help them get ready for school. I'm very interested in that situation. What's that look like? Growing up in the system. Are we talking about foster home? Are we talking about orphanage? I think you're assuming too much. All right, right now I feel like I got 5 blurbs of information. Can we condense that down to 3? Because I do a lot of reading to understand these people. And I do understand who they are, but it's a lot. And having a picture, I can go, oh, that's what this person looks like. It doesn't have to be a picture of them, right? But help me create some human connection. Let's not put these guys on the same page. Wait, all of a sudden we knew a kiosk was a solution? There's a bit of a breakdown between where we were and where we are, because you just told me who these people are. What are all the solutions? That way, when you get to the kiosk, I can go, oh, it makes sense compared to these other things. This is the most opportunistic. So kiosk, next page, you can talk about the user interface. You can talk about how they might want to interact with it. Is there a physical connection? Is there a digital connection? So there's pieces of the story that I'm missing out on currently. I need some more water. All right, water required. Tropy or trappy, don't know. I feel like your last project. No, never mind, that wasn't you. What is it? Dirtless gardening, okay. Nutrient solution, no manual watering, no potting soil, no huge space required. I know you're trying to do like the triples, like no, no, and no, but we'll leave it alone. Why hasn't it? Great question. Because they look like this. Is that necessarily true? Are there no available systems or available products? Let me see if you're lying. Well, Miss Katie, I gotta disagree with you. These looks like they're pretty fun. They're ready to go. They don't look like, Coke bottles. You might want to rephrase that. Why might that look like that? Because it's cost effective. It's not complicated. Cheap. Okay, well, maybe there's a reason why you want to show me the 2 options. You can buy something that is a lot of plastic, or you can use plastic you have. You got to show me kind of a dichotomy, right? The store-bought indoor gardening markers are no better Well, show me those, right? Show me both of them, then explain. Rather uninspiring forms. Yeah, but no. I mean, we're talking about more about this is a systemic issue first. And like, what if I worked for, let's pick one of these. Aero Garden Ultra. If I worked for AeroGrow and I read this, or uninspiring forms. Cool. Thank you. Is there another way to say that where it's a little bit less offensive to potential designers you might work with one day? Thus, form exploration. I'm not a huge fan of jumping. Is it just a form exploration thing? And really, I know this is tall, so I'd rather you show me all of it and let me get my own opinion of it first, and then you can go back and talk about the individual elements. I like the callouts. If I can't read them, I can't appreciate them. I can't know where you're going with this mentally. I don't care what you like. Like is a dangerous word to use in design. You can. I don't feel that they were. I didn't believe they were successful. I don't believe they offered anything new. That's a bit better than using the word like. Just checking your fonts. They seem to be. So you try something different. Cool. I mean, I do like the difference, but did changing mediums make your design any better? So for me, it wasn't like you changed papers and the paper gave you inspiration. It's more, I don't know. What I see and kind of implied is I changed papers, I did better sketches. Usually they weren't successful. Let's be more, I tried something different. I explored different options, right? Keep it project based, not medium based. Okay. Then say the earlier ones don't have these qualities. I don't really care about CAD models, right? We do CAD to communicate an idea, not to show that we know how to do CAD. Also, you have like that type of idea. Can we scale these down a little bit? Scale down the type, scale down the logo a little bit. Just give me a little more white space to breathe in here. But wait, there's more. Let's bleed this guy off to the right, or at least bleed the chord off to the right. Yes, good. I was like, can I get a section view? Okay, a change that I think would be helpful without doing a ton of work is mirror this. That way your 1, 2, 3s are on the left, your 4, 5, 6, 7 is on the right. Also, see if you can have number 1 start out here, number 2 start here, and number 3. That way I can flow from left to the right like I'm accustomed to. How about it's quick to assemble and painless to maintain? Also, I'm wondering if you should scoot that in and make it line up with your other columns. Yeah, I want a sequence of views. So if you say it's quick to assemble, painless to maintain, doing quick to assemble, maybe 4 or 5, easy to maintain. So 2 sequences of views I think would be more effective than this, because here I'm like going back and forth, like where do I start? How do you communicate the value if I don't know the steps? Cool. That's the ice maker. The Heaven or the Haven? Your choice. Uh-oh, what happened? I think your vertical spacing's off, right? So if you could scoot those together vertically, I think it'd look more attractive. Maybe come down a little bit in terms of font sizes. Just check your margins. You're not using any of your margins. And when you don't use your margins, you got to get rid of them because all they're doing is taking up real estate. Sketches, spell check. Okay, so if you tell me this is inspired by Chinese style, wait, it's an old Chinese style inspired by ancient architecture. So this is a bit of an implication, but you're drawing form inspiration from old architecture, right? Could you briefly tell me what about them is inspiring you? Right, repetitive tiers, focus on raising the eye, strong geometries, strong color contrast, something, right? Give me some insight onto, when you're looking at these, what types of visual information are you pulling out and then putting in to your lamp. Like all these projects, I think it's very important to talk about the Pinocchio aspect because anybody can make a design, but whether it's sold for a price that normal people can afford is a totally different part of the equation. Also, was there any development? I don't know what sketch you decided to go with before you went into your 3D modeling and your manufacturing. Also, this is weird. What if we got rid of the dots and then center line? So 1 is under the middle, 2 is under the middle, 3 is in the middle, and we show assembly that way. Detail shots. The downside with your detail shots is you have different colors. You have more of an orange, you've got more of a pink red, and you've got like a bright yellow. Really, if you're using the same light, they need to all be similar. What I would have a picture between these two because you're showing details. I want a hero shot on a blank background because I do like it in context, I really do. But blank shot between these two pages, white background, and then do call outs to help reinforce the fact that you pulled these visual inspiration and put it into your concept. Yeah, this is quite confusing. Also, I think you're talking way more than you're showing. All right, talk about 3 Mile Creek first. That's an entire page. Placeholder, cool. Then maybe the project brief saying you want to put outside hospitals, and keep in mind I'm making this up because I really don't know. And yes, this is quite literally someone being handcuffed to a bed, but if you're talking about feels like a prison, this is like quite literally a prison, but feels like a prison. Then you have someone staring out the window, kind of forlorn, that could probably do the same thing and be maybe less controversial. Plus, if they're going to strap this kid, I'm not going to go that far. In your research, seems like it's more negative than positive. I know these things are bad, but talk about them in a positive, hey, we could fix these things. Let me show you what it could look like. Then you can talk about it individually. Right now I see a bunch of ideas. Give me like 1 or 2 tracks. Yep, this is life. That looks pixelated. Get that fixed. These look good. Also, is this a personal group or a personal project or a group project? You didn't tell me. If you don't tell me, I'm assuming that it's personal. At this point, I really don't know what to give you advice on because I typically don't critique what I would consider more of an architectural project. But good opportunity to go and look, how did they finish their projects off? Because with an idea, at least we produce a prototype. In this situation, you're pitching an idea. How can you validate and say it's good or bad? That's where I'm at this point. Like, this looks good. Okay. 1 sec. What are we tending? Okay. What's problem I'm having to go through is like, you have so much text, I feel like I have to read it to figure out what you're talking about. There's a lot of information. So, better way to do it is a way to show me, because right now, I'm just do the headers, right? Wheatgrass, we're thinking small, microgreens. Wheatgrass, you can use it in a shot. Microgreens, add them to a salad. Why don't people garden? Yes, it's difficult. Also, you should be a little bit more consistent, right? So you have like this green border, 3 images, 3 images. You've got this border running on the top, on the insides, but not on the bottom. So just run on the bottom too. Okay, so if gardening is difficult, in your sketches, I want to understand how are you making the work easier, less confusing, and less ugly through your sketches. Lots of typing, but if I can't see it, I can't read it. If I can't read it, can't know what you're trying to go after. So I can give you credibility. Yes, you're thinking about things while you're sketching. That's good, but I can't understand saying what it is until you help me by making it bigger. So these are more developments. You're going to Photoshop these, make them look a bit more clean. Growth cycle, 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days would be a big thing. 7 to 10 days. I would add something to this project. Is one of the hard things with gardening is like just being rewarded, because sometimes it can take weeks and months and you're rewarding them within 10 days. So to me, that would be a big incentive. Should this have a shadow that kind of bleeds off the page? All right, tower. I'm not going to read all the small text, because if you're doing small text, it's telling me it's a tertiary element. You have prototypes. Also, like, you're never going to make this out of foam, so why is it even important? If you are going to make it out of foam, in a manufacturing sense, wouldn't they just kind of cast it in foam rather than doing it on a lathe? Seeds, put seeds in. App. Do you really need an app to grow food? Hero shot, detail shots, branding. This is way too full. Lighten this up. Either take some out. I mean, I do like seeing the volume. That's good, but it looks like just freaking chaos around here, right? Clean this up. You know ain't nobody gonna read that. So like, it's kind of like, F you, I did it, but you can't read it. That's what it feels like. Also, I feel like you're getting too close to the border with information right there. Confidence. Well, confidence is good, but I want to see you solve. Where are these guys at? Here. Hard work, easy, less confusing, ugly. Those are the things that I want you addressing later. How'd you make it easy, less confusing? I forget the third one already because I just did. Also, if you want to keep this entire thing super simple, make sure this app is super simple. Man, I do like in context. But this is what I focus on first, what they're doing. I'm like, oh, there it is. So if there's a way to bring more attention to this, I mean, it's in the far left of the photo as well. Two options. Rephoto shoot or take that and Photoshop it in a kitchen similar to this, but it needs to be front and center. I know it's about them cooking with microgreens, but to me that's like secondary or even tertiary in the picture. All right, pour over coffee. I'm quite confused with these pages. That's the reason why I scan down quickly. Did the images come in late? No. Why are these so skinny? Right, you're using less than 30% of the entire page. Do you have margins? Yes, you have margins on some. Man, I need more consistency. All right, make this big, make it bold. Let me be able to read that a bit bigger. Because you're not using so much space, just make it bigger. You're adding things, okay. Ideation. I feel like these could be a bit, let's see. You just have some white space here, white space here, and white space here that feel a little bit funny. I want this entire page to look like a composition. So these are the chosen one. Make them a bit bigger. And then give me a little text here maybe. That help it feel more of a complete page. Prototyping. Flip-flop these, right? Base, mug, filter, container. Also, instead of like, communicate to me what you're thinking about through the process. How are you still solving the problem through this prototype? Did these things work or did they not work? And like I said at the beginning of the year, if all your sketches and all your prototypes work the first time every time, you're lying because we all know that it doesn't. So I need you to be very honest with these things were good, this thing is bad, this is what I wanted to improve because that's problem solving. I think you've gone too gray on these. Bring some more of a black or darkness to them. Also, like I don't know what these parts are. Let me see if the next page does this. It's not going good. Have one page that's talk about exploded view, talk about what the things are, and then show me how it works. And this has to get re-photoshopped too. It's the third thing that I see. I see a backpack first, I see a background second, and then I see that third. We know it's not all about this, but that has to be the focus of the image, and it's not. Alright, so let me see if this color scheme's going to work. Alright, it works. Because you got this reddish yellow thing going. Alright, so these are the things you want to achieve. At the end, I want you to reiterate these to show me that it is successful. I think you could fill up a little bit more of the page, like increase everybody by 10%. Also, since I can't read these handwritten callouts, I'm a big fan of them, right? Maybe there's enough resolution in this scan to scale certain callouts larger so I could see them. Keep in mind, we're paying you for the good ideas and the bad ideas. Go towards good ideas, keep us away from bad ones. This is a weird page, right? I don't know what to do with it, so I'll leave it alone. Right, you're hanging way too close to the edge here. I would like to keep your text above the object. Instead of cutting across the object, what if you go down and then to the right at the last moment? See, down and to the right. Keep that. Use that implied line here. What I might do is scoot everybody a little bit to the right. Make sure you've got a little white space along the margin, a little white space along the margin, and then scale this up and then crop some of that gray space down so you could, fit this above like you've done with these other iterations. I like seeing options. Highlight the most important information. And it does fulfill those two requirements. What about the other ones? Strong and no glue. So you're going to show me no glue, I bet. Good. There we go. Nice renders. Alright, getting there. I'm very interested in the packing/stacking process. Right? I mean, just going through the things. The only thing you really haven't proved to me is the strength. And then when you've done all these, it's about selling and moving product. So how do you illustrate or apply the graphics that need to be applied there appropriately? Daily medication with the overconfidence and the overconfidence in the air I breathe. That's a lot of bolding. I mean, you can give me a bigger brief, but maybe like the last sentence is the direction, the overall project statement that we're going with. Too much text. What's the most important stuff? Here. More serious fluidity than the outside air. What is? Homes. That's terrible. Why? Some home purification systems. I think you've gone a bit over gray with your text. I need to bring back some of the visual hierarchy. So your headings here can be a bit bigger, a bit darker. Same thing about these sentences. Like pros, cons, pros, cons. Too much text, not reading. 23% of filters, 38% don't take any steps. And no, too much. Simplify. Sketch ideation. Give me some callouts. What are good ideas? What are bad ideas? What has potential? Not going to read. I can only handle so much. And the same thing, people are going to read your documents. Volumetric subtles working on, okay. Are you using spreads the entire time? Yeah, it looks like it. One, I can't read it. Just like anybody else who's going to have one of these on their screen. If you can't read the words, I'm not going to zoom in and out. So one reason to keep on condensing the words to the most essential things that have to be written. Furthermore, I think you've done a good job of laying out this page. There's a lot of information, but still there's hierarchy built into it. Think about making it 2 pages. Doesn't have to be, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Blank page. Good. Good. Okay. In terms of visuals, I think you got your visuals. It's just a matter of like, man, reduce the amount of reading that I have to do because it's not going to. That double vision. I've got double vision looking at these projects. All right, let's make this more prominent, these a less dominant, right? So maybe smaller logos, do Georgia Tech University, or how Georgia Tech logo, vertical line, Georgia Tech, what is their Georgia Technical College, like use their full name, Auburn University. Then underneath you can go computer engineering, industrial design, right? I want to make these a little bit less strong on the page. People icon, okay. Wait, this is your team. That's your pair, right? Without all y'all working together, project doesn't work. So I don't want to call this your team per se. I'd skip it. You're going to tell me it's a team? Maybe tell me, even though we were a team of 12, we were paired up to develop the form. The brief. Description of brief. Yes. Get a good description. Right, you're telling about echolocation. Make sure this is all you, because right now it's 3 different sources. Good information to draw from. Make it your own. Make it simple. Yep. Give me a second. We're talking about echolocation. Maybe like you're introducing the product that they gave to y'all. I don't know what I call it a product, but the current working model. Take that guy and say, this is good, this is bad, this is how we can improve it. Right? I'm not really sure it's essential to talk about the internals and externals when we're all even in charge of the internals, or I was given those. Right? If you explain to me what this device is, which you haven't shown me, and say how can we make it better, give me 3 things to make it better, and then start investigating those areas. Then when you start talking about the housing, I think it makes more sense. This is Will. He loves this, this, and this. How can we make his life better? Down so on this page, about every single one of these sketches has the same amount of priority. So it doesn't tell me like which direction you went in. One, I think you get rid of like the vignettes, the bounding boxes, and then tell me what's good and bad with them, right? I really can't read this, so ideation page needs to be redone. Modeling is great. Refinement is great. 3D printing. Don't care something about 3D printing. Almost anybody can. Like, I load a STL, I hit print, I ran a 3D printer. More interested in how you apply this. Okay, way too many pictures. I don't really care all about these internals, right? When's the last time you saw somebody geek about all the iPhone internals? No. It's about what the iPhone allows you to do in your life. That's what I'm really more interested in this project. Yes, you can talk about the engineering side of it, but let's not do it through like 6 different pages. Talk about the internals briefly, the innovations that you maybe added to it, but more importantly, it needs to go all the way back to Mr. Will getting his life improved through it. That makes sense? I hope so. Talked about pixelation in class already. Serious design. Also, it feels like you're... Let's not do that. You can, if you feel the need to, have the word inspiration kind of overlap that line, but your text below cannot, right? See how it kind of blends together? I need that spacing underneath. See how it's lacking? Also, this is almost gridded out nicely. Like, these feel close to done. That feels sloppy. I don't know what that is at all. Then bleed things off the page where I can't see them at all. That's kind of mean. Redo sketch page. You know, I gotta tell you. It feels like this page doesn't have contrast. One, the whites aren't really white, and your darks aren't really dark, so it kind of looks like a dried out page. Form dev, okay. That's probably the best shot you have. Actually, these two are the best shots you have currently. They look like the real model, which is awesome. This one doesn't look like the real model. I don't know why. I mean, one is, look at the color values, look at the color values. You got nice, good contrast, good sharpness, and you lose it here. And if I see this much information, like, you gotta be kidding me. No. Y'all gotta stop it with these. Thinking people are gonna read your stuff. Show me. Treat me like I'm 3 years old. Show me some stuff that's entertaining. Come back with a little bit of information, but do mostly through the visuals. Also, consider about this. Like, Lego is barely visible. Tray hardly any. Logos can be punched up just a tad. I don't mind being so small. I think it's a good use of white space, but I'm starting to lose the tray because of white on white. Product description, too small. I'm not going to read it. Ideations, I'm not going to read your text. So, what do I see here? You already have a sketch. From other projects, like this a lot. Well done. Only thing is, I think you kind of got to explain why this is the way it is, because we typically don't see these in, let's see, like a Kroger or a Whole Foods. You see the most in big box stores, so it's almost like you got to create another spread in here to make this work, right? So half a spread could be taken up with the context, where's this thing used at, why do they have certain requirements, which changes your form factor. Why does it have to be so open? What does the volume have to be so big? Does it fill in the palette? Those type of considerations. Then what else? Could have more sketch ideation. You could have a prototype that was kind of a first runner. You saw some good things with it. You saw some bad things with it. And then you get to your preeminent, the chosen concept. You show me how it sets up, breaks down. Good. Another thing you do for an additional page is this in store. Or another thing you could show me is what are the problems with these products. So I think there's information gap on part of it that could be easily figured out. Cool. Looks like an instrument. I don't know if you have a title for this, but could be a good opportunity for a title somewhere up in here. Pro is, all I know is instrument, but beyond that I can't give you any more judgment. Alright, stuff came in, cool. Do yourself redesign. Nah, Let's not say that, because redesign is based on an existing product. DIY market is quite different than redesign. Concha. All right, you're breaking one of my cardinal rules, which is don't show me the final solution before we start. The original handheld harp. Okay. So you're showing me the handheld harp. Keep in mind, people don't know what this thing is. So it's almost like you got to build me a little mood board going on. Yes, the DIY harp. Maybe show me where it came from on Instructables. Show me somebody playing it. Maybe show me 2 instances of somebody playing it. That way I get a good vibe for what you're going for. And if it's got to be redesigned, there's got to be design opportunities. So boom, boom, boom. Three things to make this musical object better. What makes it unique? Can be used to teach basic music theory. Bring your own image. Yeah, and your spacing's off, right? See how that's so close and that's so far away? Spaces evenly. Diatonic and pentatonic scale. Normal people don't know what this is. Although anyone who loves rock and roll music has their thanks to give to the blues and the jazz, who actually popularized the pentatonic scale. But what do I know? Hey, cool. Yes, use your own vector. All right, I think we need some, because you're using such a dark background, I'm thinking your font color could be a bit more white. White has a great contrast value. I don't mind it being blue, but right now I think some of it's too darker blue, so punch that up. I feel like you can make these a little bit bigger, right? Text a bit smaller, images a bit bigger. Okay, this does make sense, right? So if primarily you're going for elementary school, then primarily your design opportunities revolve around making it for kids up to high school, which always also kind of indirectly benefits your on-the-go musician or someone who's like, I think composers would be interesting if you want to think out something. If you have an instrument with you, that could be helpful. Placeholder for sketches. Also, this feels backwards. No, because that's their product, right? Also, like 2 boxes of information. And how do you break that off of one image? One, let's make this image bigger. Take up more of the page, maybe 20% bigger. And then maybe call-outs or drop-down. So drop-down, the original harp has decent sound with poor construction quality. Because like when I see poor quality, I'm thinking in terms of music, it's poor music quality. But you don't mean that, so tell me what you mean. Iterations, spell check. Is there any way you can gauge, even if you're making up those figures? I mean, I know you're showing it with these. Maybe you could say each hand harp played a certain chord and was recorded at 10 feet away and say this is the decibels that it registered. That's more of a proven way to reinforce your concept. Also, like with wood, you're getting a resonance, right? Because like the wood will vibrate as well. The plastic, not so much. So one, be more specific where you're telling information, and then I guess also be more specific on the word choiceage. Close enough. Good. I love this. What I learned from these models, so important. You're setting me up for great anticipation. Callouts, yes, but you might see this weird line, right? So you got to make sure this constant, it's almost black, has a little bit of a kind of a gray, maybe a little brown touch to it, goes across the entire page. All right, so final solution, final details. Yep, harp in use. Ooh, I don't like those colors. right? I feel like you've refined it, and these feel cheap. To go on gut reaction, I'd just go with harping use and then call it a day. All right, round 1 in the books. Round 2 coming in a second.